business is really warfare, but it's the activity of life itself. You say, well, business means I need to open up a business. Okay, yeah, that's right. But real activity of life has to deal with all the essentials of life that we must provide for ourselves, our families, our future. I have something in my pocket that, gee, where is it? Oh, yeah. I have a gold coin. In 1961, I was sitting with Elijah Muhammad, and he took out of his pocket a gold coin. This is 1 ounce of gold, pure gold, okay? Mr. Muhammad put it on the table. He said, one day soon, this gold coin will be the new medium of exchange. White people are moving into the inner city. Some of them knocking on doors. They come with money and they ask you for your gold. Because what they're giving you, I think I got some of that in my pocket. Yeah, I think I do. Now this is paper. This is not real money. This is real money. Silver as real money. Now you young people, some of the elders in the audience, like myself, this used to be called a silver certificate. How many old people in here know when this was a silver certificate? And you know what it said on the bottom? Pay to the bearer on demand $50 in silver, the real money. This is what you call monopoly money. Oh, you didn't hear me. We're going to do some business tonight. Because business is really warfare. What's about to happen? This week it came out in the news that in 2016, all the major banks are in trouble. It started with J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. What makes a bank in trouble? When the value of the paper that they have begins to lose its value, then the bank is in serious trouble. And so are we who have our money in the bank. Now, white people that are in your neighborhood, they're in the pawn shop now, and they're telling you in the window, bring the gold, we got cash for you. They know you don't know that this is losing its value every day. But gold will increase in value. Now this one here, I bought it today, or sent a brother to get it today, because I wanted to use it to explain something. 1 ounce of gold, this little piece right here, is 12. We have to press the government for reparations. Listen, as long as you ask for a job, and they don't have them these days, but they can promise it. You're going along to get along. Do you know why Elijah Muhammad put on the back page of Muhammad Speaks? We want freedom, full and complete freedom. We want justice. We want equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, regardless of creed or class or color. We want equality. We want equality of opportunity, and we want equal membership in society with the best in civilized society. But then in point number 4, he says we believe that those of us whose parents, have been here for 400 years, and we believe that you offered us integration as a hypocritical trick to make us believe that our 400-year-old enemy has now become our friend. We believe that this is the time in history for separation. And he said, since we can't get along with you in peace, then we think what we've contributed to America, we should have some of this earth that we can call our own. So we need 8 or 10 states with an outlet to the sea. And we want you to supply our needs in this separate territory for the next 20 or 25 years until we can go for ourselves. Now, I had a talk at Harvard with that man, the senator that died, Moynihan. He had talked about birth control among blacks, and I went to Harvard, and we had a little debate, and I told Mr. Moynihan that, we wanted to be separated from you. We don't see you giving us no justice. So we want some of this earth that we can call our own. And I was telling him that we were willing to go into underbrush and cut the underbrush down and fell the trees and build a nation of our own. And I was telling the Honorable Elijah Muhammad what I told Moynihan. He said, stop, you was doing all right till you got to that part. He said, you don't tell the white man that you're willing to go back and cut no underbrush. We already did that once. If we have to do it again, that's not progress. Hell no. Get out of the cities and the towns that we helped you build. Go and find some other state to move in. You move out, we move in. Now, wait a minute. You say, oh, come on, Farrakhan, that's a pipe dream. Well, damn, you better put it in your pipe then. You better start smoking what this is. Because that mess that you're talking ain't making no damn sense.
That's right. That's right.
You're going to wait around here another 100 years so they can bamboozle you some more?
That's right. Right.
He said, well, 8 or 10 states, let them go out, we go in, and let them take care of us in that separate territory for the next 20 to 25 years. You say, oh, come on, Farrakhan, they won't do that. Listen, they've been taking care of Israel for 55 years. They've given Israel over $100 billion of your tax dollars, and Israel haven't done nothing for them. You mean to tell me we who built the country, we who fought, bled, and died to maintain the country, we who gave it art and culture and seasoned it, and we can't get along with you in peace as long as we want equal justice? Hell no, we can't wait for you to change.
Right.
We want a nation. We want to be able to prepare a future for our children. We don't need no rich middle class of Negroes who can't do nothing for the masses of our people. We need land and territory that we can call our own. So reparation got to be on the agenda. We need land, Mr. President. You got all this Federal Reserve land. What you reserving it for? Yeah, we need cash. Hell yeah, print some more. you in your foolish state, what are you going to do with $20, $30, $40, $50,000 but give it right back to the enemy? It ain't about money. It's about that which will prepare a future for you and your children. You're not going to be on welfare for the rest of your life. You're not going to be out here scrounging and begging white people for a job for the rest of your life. But if you got land that you can build a real world out of it for yourself. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, well, I put it there. They may never give it to you. He said, but I want you to know what justice looks like. So they won't offer you a white woman and a few dollars and you think we made it. Some of you Negroes will sell our people out for just a little position with white people. You won't sell us out. You'll be buying your funeral. The future of our people is not to be compromised. It would be better that you would dropped in the bottom of the sea with a millstone around your neck to betray the legitimate aspirations of our people. We got to come out from among them. We got to leave Pharaoh. Leave it. The hell with it. Leave it. Force him to tell you, nigga, I ain't giving you nothing. If you put it on the table strong enough, he'll come out of his bag. See, today he's smiling. Hi, brother, how are you? See? But if you say, no, wait, no smile, no pat on the back. Yeah, let's talk about reparation here. Okay? Then you see him change. Face get red. He opened his mouth and these teeth turn into fangs. Horns come up. Say, now look, we'll give you a monument for the slaves. We'll even help you Negroes have a museum on the mall in Washington. But we'll be damned if we're going to give you anything. Say, well, fine. You're not going to give us nothing, and we're not going to give you nothing. We ain't joining your army. We're coming out of it. We ain't paying no taxes to support a system that's against us. Hell no. See, now you're throwing down the gauntlet. Now either God is real or we don't need him. God damn it, if God can't come to our defense, who the hell need a God that won't fight for us? Yeah. So all you scared to death niggas that think that God ain't real, we gonna prove that he's real, cause we calling this cracker out. God damn it, come on out there. And if God be God, come on, then stand up for us like you stood up for the children of Israel. Yes, sir. Come on. I don't represent no punk God. No, sir. No, sir. I represent a God that make rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. I represent a God that has power over the forces of nature. I represent a God that can turn men's minds to thinking and doing as he pleases. And he real, he ain't no damn spook. So all of you that fear the white man as a God beside Allah, get the hell over here. I'm willing to die for the righteousness and the freedom of black people. And I'm not no damn fool. Keep on your feet. This is a day of separation. Yes, go ahead. Y'all not gonna be together. That's right.
I
I would like to see at least 100 millionaires among the Muslims in Chicago. If you're rich, I'm rich. And I can always come and tell you about the needs of a nation. But if you poor and we poor, we can't be around here poor. I want to see rich Muslims.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, family. How's everyone doing tonight? This is your brother, Fard Magdi, CEO and founder of Fard Money Network and also New Millennium Bankers. And I'm also a student in the nation member, active member in the Nation of Islam. So this broadcast is for us to be awakened unto the real enemy, the real beast, and what the minister has been calling us on and has been pointing us to, the international bankers. So we're going to deal with this today. This broadcast today is a follow-up from three broadcasts, well, the last two broadcasts that we had Tuesday and the one that we had on Saturday. So last Tuesday, as you can see here, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, Fard Money Network, please go do so. It don't cost you nothing to support us, because we're going to continue to bring this information out. We're going to continue to sound the alarm on that it is wartime, financial wartime. So we have to get all the way in position and be prepared, because how we know about money and banking and currency now, it's not going to be like that forever. It ain't going to be like that for much longer. But pay attention to the signs. But we're helping you see the signs more clearer. All right. So go and look at, after this stream, the Business is Warfare broadcast that we did last week about Russia and Iran releasing a gold-backed cryptocurrency. You need to go see that. You need to see how this is lined up with what we're about to deal with today. Then you have last Saturday, which was the Saturday just passed, rather, which was the first Future Money Show, which is our longest running broadcast that we had since we started Fard Money Network, the Future Money Show, where we talked about how the Secretary of the Treasury, Ms. Janet Yellen, who is a Zionist Jew, has sounded the alarm that America has hit its debt ceiling of $31.4 trillion. All right, so she want to increase the debt. So now they're going to have to take out more bonds and all of that. So you can get prepared for that. And you can see things, other things is speeding up in the marketplace. And also you can see that the stock market is not doing that good. Cryptocurrency is doing good, but everything else is pretty much down. So let us start with the proper matter. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. All praise due to Allah, who appeared in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, the great Mahdi, the son of man of the Christian world, and the great Mahdi of the Muslim world. I can never thank him enough for coming 9,000 miles by himself to bring us this absolute truth and to give us a messenger, give us a Messiah, give us a Jesus. And he found that Jesus in 1931, September the 22nd to be exact. And he took that man that at that time was named Elijah Poole, and he taught him day and night for 3.5 years. And then he left. And when he left, he gave him the name Elijah Muhammad. He went from Elijah Poole to Elijah Kareem to Elijah Muhammad. And now we emphatically call him the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, who we know without a shadow of a doubt, he is alive, well, and he's definitely in power. And he is in control of those wheels that the enemy calls UFOs. But they're chief helper. So we thank Allah for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. But they're chief helper. The man that, do y'all know, the only black organization to ever be destroyed by the enemy and come back in its full form, in the same exact form as it was destroyed, that they destroyed, it's only the Nation of Islam. And it was only did by the faithful one man, the man that you were just listening to. The man is the reason that I'm here. The man that I strive to be like in deeds, in attitude and viewpoints about everything. The man that I'm a student of, the man that saved my life, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Now, I want y'all to get that twisted. I want to be like him when it comes to morals and principles. I want to have his view, but I could never be Louis Farrakhan, right? Allah made me. Fard Magdi, he made me. So I cannot negate myself by trying to be somebody else. However, I can be like him in principles and morals. I can try to be like him in submission. I can try to do my Islam the way he do it because he does it so perfect. He's in total submission. He's total secure in his skin, and he don't have any insecurities. The minister don't judge. All right, the minister will listen to anybody. You know how we cut people off? We can't let a person get their statement out. We all do it. All right, we can't let a person. The minister don't do that. He sit there and listen. I don't care who it is. He sit there and listen to you until you're done. And then he will answer your question or give a statement back to you. See, the minister has got to the point where he can recognize God in every human being on the planet. Yes, that's him. So we're all striving, those of us in the nation that are true followers of him, we're all striving to be more like him when it comes to exercising the attributes of the originator. That's what we're trying to do. Because he's an example of these two men behind me. See, this topic is so heavy today, we had to bring the gods out because it wasn't until this man came on the scene that we was given an invincible truth. We was given a weapon to fight against the Zionist Jews, the United States government, and 400 years of slavery that the mind had put us in. So he had to get us out of that. So Master Fard Muhammad had to come on the scene and bust up two minds. And what are those two minds? Well, he had to bust up white superiority. That's the mindset of the average Caucasian on the planet right now, right? And he also had to bust up the mind of black inferiority. Because sometimes we just become inferior. We think we inferior people when we are the original people. Meaning if it wasn't for the black man and woman, wouldn't be no people. That's an actual, not just an actual fact, that's a scientific fact for you scientists out there. All right? And we didn't know nothing about that until this man came on the scene. Yeah, looking Caucasian because he had a black father and he had a Caucasian mother out of the Caucasus Mountain in Europe. But his father was the head of the Council of the Gods. Brother Alfonso, he was the head of the Council of the Gods of that cycle of time. His father was Allah, but he produced a son that has more wisdom and power and understanding than he had because he had a specific work. Because the scientists, even before his father, had already wrote about him thousands of years ago. They also wrote about this man, the first begotten of the dead. See, we looking back in the past and think it was a man from 2,000 years ago who didn't teach out of Palestine. Give me a history of Jesus outside of Palestine. Huh? Yeah, the Moors said they got this circle 7 that said Jesus taught in Egypt. That's false. That's not true. All right? But outside of that, give me a history of the Jesus from 2,000 years ago teaching outside of Palestine. You don't have it. Now, we have been taught the true history of Jesus from these two men because this man here taught it to this man here. And he taught it to all of us. And the minister is a reminder of this history because the enemy tried to wipe out the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. He tried to wipe out the nation of Islam. This is why we follow Farrakhan. This is why we honor and respect and love Farrakhan. Because the enemy tried to wipe out the most important man in not just black history, but in American United States history. The most important man is the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. The most important man. Why? Because he's the man that met with God in person. See, when you hear about people talking about the nation, See, what they don't deal with is none of them, whether they black or white, they don't deal with what we really believe in and what we really standing on. They don't deal with that. All right? They tell you everything else. They bring up Malcolm, they bring up the most unlike Muhammad domestic life. They'll tell you we ain't real Muslims, all that stuff there. But the man that set up the nation in the West, he from Mecca. He born and raised in Mecca. Master Father Muhammad. We say he come from Mecca, right? But he come to set up Islam in the West, and he come to make a perfected Islam, because the Islam that you're looking at in the East ain't even Islam anymore. They don't believe in no God is Allah. They don't believe in that. Huh? What do you think? Washington got control over there, got the Muslims fighting each other over there and everything. What do you think that is? So how the hell they believe in the one God? They don't bow down to nobody but Allah. But Washington, D.C. can direct them. Right? Yeah. Yeah, with all the money, all the oil, and all the power that they supposed to have, they still bow down to Washington. Listen, but anyway, I don't want to get excited. I want to stay on topic. Because this man, when he was 6, the Most Honorable Muhammad told us that when he was 6, he saw himself pushing the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Warburns, the Rothschild, the international bankers into a lake of fire when he was 6 years old. That was 1883. 1883, right? And he was in and out of America for 20 years before he made himself and revealed himself to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Now, this is his history. He didn't say he saw himself pulling them. See, he saw himself pushing the rulers into a lake of fire. So I'm just here today to say, like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, like the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'm here to help him push them into the fire. I'm here to help. I was born to help him. Huh? That's why when you see Foreign Money Network, when you hear us, when you hear New Millennium Bank, when you see us, see, we different. We different. All right? Yeah, we even different from some members of the Nation of Islam. We different. We just think different. See, I was born in 1981, March the 20th. And I was born from a mother who was in the nation prior to her meeting my father. And I didn't know nothing about that till I was 31 years old. And I was about 32, 33 years old. I didn't know nothing about my mother being a member of the Nation of Islam. Y'all kidding that? So who set that up? Who set that up? And I went through a whole lot of stuff that would have broke most of y'all. That would have broke most of y'all. I went through a whole lot of stuff. I'm talking about just a whole lot of backstabbing, treason, all type of stuff. Right? From a homeboy, family member, everything. Went through a whole lot of stuff. Right? I done been through a whole lot of stuff in the nation. Since I've been in the nation for these past 6 years, out here in for the previous 4 to 5 years before I got out here into the so-called free world, right? Been through a whole lot of stuff, family. But I was born for this time. I am one of the ones who is the fulfillment of the prayers and the promises and the hopes that our ancestors, when they was on the plantation, wished for and hoped for. Because little did we know that these bankers was at the root of our sojourn in America. Now, because it's a deep topic, because most people don't understand that the Zionist Jew is a Caucasian person. He's not anti-Semitic. He's not even Jewish. Ain't really no such thing as Jewish. They made that up, right? But he's really not even a Jew. Because due to the Bible, You had to be a Jew if you're a Jew if you follow the laws and commandments of Moses, the Old Testament, the Torah. That's what the Bible says. That makes you a Jew. They don't follow that. They wrote their own book called the Talmud. Now, I'm not the best one qualified to talk about that. The best one qualified to talk about that, you're going to hear him and see him. February the 26th in Chicago, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is going to deliver a message titled "The War Armageddon Has Begun." And I want to tell you, see, I'm not just a believer in the Nation of Islam. See, I'm not just a believer in these men. See, you might find some that they just believe in these men, they just a believer in the minister. See, I'm so past belief. I am a direct knower. I am an inheritor. I am fulfillment on what they hope for. On what they, no, not what they hope for, what they set in motion. What the hell I'm talking about? Excuse me. On what they set in motion would come to birth and would help them. A fearless person that will get in the business sector with the enemy and won't be afraid. But I had to go through a whole lot of stuff for that, though. So our first brand, our first name of a business in this world was called Forward Money. Forward Money. We named it after the God. We named it after him. All right? And I indirectly, by default, became Forward MacD. Outside of my own understanding and control how this stuff just happened. So I'm born for this. I'm born to be with the minister in this time. See, some of y'all talk that revolutionary talk. Talking about if you was back in the day with Malcolm, with Martin, with Huey P. Newton, Fred Hampton. If you was back here with the Black Panthers and all of that, Marcus Garvey, you would be with them. You was a damn liar. You was a liar. Why? Because if you would have been with them, you would be with Minister Farrakhan right now. Whether you be a full member of the nation or you will be a direct supporter of the nation. One of the two. One of the two. Right? You will be backing and defending the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and defending Master Fard Muhammad. Why do you think they'll teach you about these two men in Black History Month in the public school system? Have you ever thought about that? With everything the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad did for Black people in America? I heard Brother 19 Keys talk about it. He said it so beautifully on the Breakfast Club. He was on what's that other show with the Super Thug brother? Drink Champs. Drink Champs, right? He was on Drink Champs, and he talked about how if you took the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad out of history, what else would be out of history? What wouldn't be? Would we have conscious rap? We wouldn't have had the Black Panthers. We wouldn't have had a lot of movements. You wouldn't have had a Malcolm X. You wouldn't have had a Muhammad Ali. You wouldn't even have a Minister Farrakhan if we take the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad out of history. So that means that take away the Million Man March. That take away the Nation of Islam as it is today. Now you had some other little followers of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad go and start little branches of the nation. That ain't the nation. He ain't sanctioned that. That him. He sanctioned Minister Farrakhan to sit in his seat while he was gone. That's why none of them, you didn't know nothing about it. If I ain't said anything about it, you didn't know nothing about it. They still out here doing nothing. Why? Because they focus their time on what Minister Farrakhan doing. Minister Farrakhan don't focus on them no. See, when you doing big things, you got time to focus on your brother. See, if you went to fight the cause and the enemy, what you focus on what I'm doing for? But it's proof. The proof is in the word. Out of the students of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is the most successful? The minister. And that doesn't just mean with being able to articulate the word. The minister got tangible stuff. The minister lives a freedom lifestyle. He exercises, he demands freedom, justice, and equality. In his lifestyle, he has it. So we students of him, ain't that what we're supposed to be going through? Well, that's what I'm going. Ain't what I'm going for. Damn it, it's promised to me. I'm fulfilling it. Before I was born, this is what the God in the Christ promised me. The Joshua generation, this generation, our generation, we the fulfillment of. We ain't hoping in faith. That's why we don't care nothing about the enemy. We don't care nothing about him because we know he done. He done. It wouldn't matter if he come take me out. He come take some of us. It don't even matter. It don't even matter. We expect for retaliation in a hurry. The Most Honorable Muhammad told us that Master Farah Muhammad told him that the enemy wouldn't kill 300 of us before Allah wipe them all out. Do you believe that? You better look up over your head. Yeah. You think them UFO, you know damn aliens down here, them black men on them so-called UFOs. Now, we just showed y'all the videos many, many times. Them black men. And the Most Honorable Muhammad is over them black men that's on that wheel. Those are baby planes or baby wheels. Yeah, ain't no secret. I done seen it twice myself. There ain't no secret. They're not hidden. The more and more they're being seen now in this day and time is because the enemy destruction is in sight. His removal is in sight. So after the minister deliver this message next month, you're going to even see them even more. Oh, yeah. Because the minister finna go up on the wheel for the second time. Listen, family. The original man is the supreme being. We stepped back, hid ourselves, tucked our power, and one of our gods produced the Caucasian race and gave them power. This is in your book, both Bible and Quran. It's in both books. You just don't understand it. Right? It's in both books. It's in Genesis and it's in what surah is in? It's in like Surah 2, I think. Or the Holy Quran. Start the books off. Yes. They're in both books. So we was given power. We gave them power because the gods operated with the council of God. So the whole civilization didn't know nothing about the council. You find the council in gods in your Bible in the book of Revelation. In the Holy Quran, they are styled under the exalted symbol. But when this man came on the scene, his light was so bright. He was, see, it's a difference between, see, you got God, that's a deity. You got the council of the God. See, the council of the gods, nobody outside of the council and their family know that they gods. Right? But then you got God in person. See, this God in person. See, he comes in person. He comes how the God is. So he done broke up the council. There's no more council because we know about the council. The knowledge that is given when you come into the nation of Islam, you are given the knowledge of the scientists that wrote the Bible and the Holy Quran, the ones that taught the prophets that we worship and don't follow. We given that knowledge when you step in the nation. All you got to do is just stand up and say you want to join. And you get that knowledge. And we gave the enemy one book of high mathematics. But it's 60,000 books of high mathematics. We gave the enemy one book and he built a nice world. He did that. All right. And he the God of this world. But the God of the new millennium, the God of the new world, he's on the scene now. That's why the Most Honorable Muhammad told us in 1972, during the theology of time, he said, I don't represent the God of the 6. I represent the God of the 7. The God of the new millennium. Why? Because on day 7, the God of the 6 rests. That's in your Bible. He did all this in 6 days, and on the 7th day he rests. God don't rest. What y'all think that is? That meaning that's the enemy, the Caucasian God, the one Yaqub made, ruling for 6,000 years, 6 days. The Holy Quran teaches that one day with your Lord is 1,000 years as you count. That's in the Holy Quran. Ooh, this stuff here. See, when you know scripture, you can make them tongue kiss each other. See, you think you're a Christian and you think you can't talk scripture and come and worship and fellowship with Muslims. Well, we know more about the Bible than you probably will ever know unless you come on this side. You come get with us and get it from the interpretation from Master Father Muhammad through the most honorable Allah Muhammad and through the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Because you ain't built nothing and did nothing from what you did. You ain't got the enemy on the run. The enemy ain't calling you anti-Semitic. The enemy ain't taking you off Facebook and YouTube and Instagram with your so-called understanding of the scripture, right? How many people have you saved and changed their life? See? But you're a Christian. You're a Hebrew. Well, who told you that? Where'd you get that from? Yeah, you got it from these men here. You got it from the Nation of Islam. That's where you got it from. Wasn't nobody saying that we was the children of Israel in the Bible till the most honorable Muhammad was preaching this in America. Man, come on, man. We're preaching this in the 30s, man. Wasn't no such thing as a group called the Hebrew Israelites at this time, and he was already preaching who we was in the Bible, in the Holy Quran. That's why we just laugh at y'all, man, when you come at us. Right? We just laugh. It's funny. It's funny. You're going to argue with, that's like you're going to argue with your father. That's like me trying to argue with my biological father about my birthday. About where I was born, what city I was. That's like me trying to argue with him what time I was born. Well, he was there. I wasn't there. I was coming to birth. So a Hebrew Israelite trying to argue with the nation, you're silly. You look silly. Why? Because it wouldn't be, if it wasn't for us, it wouldn't be you. Wasn't nobody else teaching black folk we were the children of Israel. That's us. We fit that description. They just took the name and ran with it, which is a new name. Which Israel really represent the whole Caucasian race, if it's properly understood. So we don't say we the Israelite, no, we say in the Bible, in the Holy Quran, we fit the description of the children of Israel. So we are the ones to fulfill the scripture. So if we fit the description of the children of Israel, that meaning that the God that in the Bible named Jehovah, in the Quran he named Allah. And we gonna get a Moses and we gonna get an Aaron. So we say to the Hebrew Israelite, where your Aaron and where your Moses at? If you the children of Israel, you the Israelites, right? Where they at? Where they at? But we telling you where they at. Here go your Moses, and the minister is your Aaron. Here go Jehovah. Here go Jehovah right here. Wasn't nobody talking separation from the enemy to the most honorable Muhammad came on the scene. Man. Let's get to it. So family, what we're finna get to tonight, you need to get this book, The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, Volume 2. You really want to know what's going on in America and how and fast America's going down. You want to see it in detail, you need to get this book. And it'll help you understand the Holy Quran and the Bible. These are not books that contradict each other. See, the Bible was taken out of its original tongue and was tampered with by the enemy. So the Quran had to come down and give us the truth that is actually in the Bible. So when you reject the Holy Quran, you're just rejecting whatever truth is in the Bible that you can unlock. Because whatever is truth in the Bible, the Holy Quran agrees with it. Y'all understand? And the Bible was written and brought to us from a third party. The prophets didn't bring that. See, but when you're dealing with the Holy Quran, as Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was getting the revelation of the Holy Quran, he was telling it to his companions at that time. But none of the people that wrote the Bible was actually with Moses, was actually with Abraham, was actually with Jesus and David and all them prophets. You feel me? So that's a lot of hands it went through. But you get the Quran, it's a direct conversation with Allah to his messenger. Whew. So you want to know what's going on, get this book. So let's get to it, family. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. We got a powerful stream for you today. So now the Secretary of the Treasury, Ms. Yeldon, she said that the debt had exceeded its limit when it hit 31.4 trillion. But we are sitting here right now looking at 31.5 trillion. The dollar gonna bottom out, man. If you got your hope in dollars in the stock market, all that stuff there, man, I feel sorry. You in for a rude awakening. If you still think that this ain't gonna bottom out, it has to. All you gotta do is go and look at other fiat currencies around the planet that went to zero. It has nothing backing it up. So eventually it's gonna tank. And it is tanking right now fast. We looking at it tank. That's what that speeding up those numbers count, that means it's tanking. Because this is millions of dollars adding to the debt right now as we speak. Then look at the total debt of America. See, that's the national debt. That's what the citizens are supposed to owe the international bankers through the Federal Reserve. It's all a scam. All right. And the Treasury is in cahoots with it. Now they got a Zionist Jew, a woman at the head of the Treasury. Boy, this thing finna go up in smoke. We at the end. All right. Then you got the total debt, 93.8 billion, almost 93.9 trillion. My bad. Almost 93.9 trillion. And this is 31.5 trillion in red. All right, but we're gonna go over the history of the banks. So let's get to it, family. This is right in line with the secret relationship between blacks and Jews. A most needed book that you really need. All right, a most needed book that you really need. You can see here with these two presidents here, 1862, Abraham Lincoln issued $450 million directly from the United States Treasury. These debt-free, interest-free notes were known as greenbacks. Abraham Lincoln did get assassinated, right? Almost 1 year, exactly 1 year later. 100 years later, right? Another president by the name of J.F. Kennedy, who was Irish, John F. Kennedy, he produced $4.3 billion directly from the United States Treasury, but bypassing the Federal Reserve. See, in 1862, it wasn't no Federal Reserve set up in America, but the international bankers was in power already. But 101 years later, John F. Kennedy, I guess, had the fortitude, the statistical fortitude to try the Federal Reserve, and he produced some notes, right? They were silver certificates, were known as silver certificates, $4.3 billion worth directly from the Treasury, bypassing the Federal Reserve Bank. Now, I want y'all to understand, what did these two presidents have in common? Well, they both produced the currency outside of the international bankers' control. They both was assassinated. You connect the dots. Think it's a coincidence. All right, but now let's go to the history of these bankers. All right, y'all see this okay? So the history, listen at it now. This is from the United States debt clock, starting from the year 1100, going all the way to the year 1999, to the new millennium. So we are new millennium bankers. We're bringing you the new way to bank. So we're gonna show you how it gets here, right? So we're gonna go over all of this as promised. And I want y'all to share this out, get everybody, ain't enough people on here to see this, right? So we need to get as many people on here as possible. You know what I'm saying? So check this out. Tally stick money. This is 1100 year. Tally stick money. Wealth-based money thrived from 1100 to 1826. System allowed for a counterfeit-free, interest-free medium of exchange. 1694, Bank of England. First privately owned fractional reserve central bank. Loan money created from nothing at interest. Well, who set that up? Father Rothschild. 1694, William Patterson, founder of the Bank of England. 1694 to 1695, the bank have benefit of interest on all monies which it creates out of nothing. It's supposed to be a picture of him right there. Colonado script. Interest-free wealth-based money issued by the colonists. Colony script. 1750 to 1764. Benjamin Franklin. He the one that we love, the Benjamins, right? You want $100 bill before you want anything, right? Right? We on a $100 bill want anything, right? You feel what I'm saying? Through our bonds. Well, they finna default on the bonds, crypto queen, so that ain't a substantial investment right there, because they finna default on the bonds. That's what the video about the Secretary of State is saying. They about to default on the bonds. So they default on the bonds, ain't no money coming to the bond. And then that's just paper. If the dollar fall today, your bond is no good. You see, a legitimate government can both spend and lend money into circulation. Now, this Benjamin Franklin, United States state man, he the one on the $100 bill. While banks can only lend significant amounts of their promissory banknotes, for they can neither give away nor spend but a tiny fraction of the money the people need. Thus, when your bankers here in England place money in circulation, there's always a debt principal to be returned and usury to be paid. The result is that you have always too little credit in circulation to give the workers full employment. You do not have too many workers. You have too little money in circulation, and that which circulates all bears the endless burden of unpayable debt and usury. In the colonies, we issue our own money. It is called colonial script. We issue it in proper proportions to make the products pass easily from the producers to the consumers. In this manner, creating ourselves our own paper money, we control its purchasing power, and we have no interest to pay to no one. Benjamin Franklin, speaking at the London Paramount. 1764, the Currency Act. England outlawed all forms of paper money issued by the colonies. They outlawed it. Now, this is another, this is leading up to why the English and the rebels of England left them and came and established America. Y'all know that, right? They was tired of this stuff here. They having civil war. So in 1764, that's the Currency Act. England outlawed all forms of paper money issued by the colonies. 1781, Bank of North America. First United States privately owned fractional reserve bank. 1781 to 1786. Collapsed in 1786 due to massive British counterfeiting and a 41x increase in the money supply. See, all you got to do is study history. See, history is best required for our research. Because if you don't know what was, you won't know what is, and you won't be prepared for what is to come. Let me say that again for the people in the back. If you don't know what was, you won't know what is, and you won't be prepared for what is to come. So, Bank of North America, and y'all know that America became a Soviet part of the planet with the 13 colonies, the first 13 states in 1776. So they came out with their bank 5 years later, and it collapsed 5 years later. Counterfeiting, right? 1787, James Madison, President of the United States, 1809 to 1817. So he did 2 terms. History records that the money changers have used every form of abuse, intrigue, deceit, and violent means possible to maintain their control over governments by controlling money and its insurance issues. 1790, Mayor Rothschild, founding father of international finance. Now I want everybody to understand now, black people, y'all know we was on the plantation at this time now. Now we the so-called get let free to 1865. So while all this was going on, we on the plantation. Now some say we got here in 1619. That's what the enemy told us. Well, Master Farad Muhammad say we came over here, the first slaves hit these shores in 1555. Now that's what the God said. The enemy said it was 1619. So what happened in them 64 years that they try to keep hid from us? While we think the enemy will rob us of our history and give us the accurate numbers and dates on our history. Man, we got to be silly as hell. All right, Mayor Rothschild, founding father of international finance. Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws. 1791, the first bank of the United States, 20-year charter, 80% privately owned central bank, debt-based money system killed by Congress in 1811. That was 20 years later. But now I want y'all to highlight this man here. See, this is the one you need to stay on point with. The founding father of international finance. This is Father Mayor Rothschild. All right, so let's go. Let's go from 1793 to 1863. Well, 1863 is really when we was let off the plantation. So let's go. So there's another 100 years. We on black people, black man, woman. We on the plantation at this time now. We on the plantation at this time. Okay. We ain't talking about Crypto Queen who was already here. Was it black people already here? That's possible. But they weren't in power. They didn't have no government. They didn't have nothing going on. So when the slaves came, the enemy already had took the Indians out and took the land from them, and we came over here as slaves. So if it was some people over here, they weren't doing the damn thing, so it's irrelevant if they was here or not. So I want everybody to understand that. Let me break that down. So just because you comment on it, you saying our ancestors was here already. They probably was, but they weren't doing a damn thing. They didn't have no government. They didn't have no civilization going on. So if they was here, they would just run around as refugees. They weren't doing nothing. All right. The white man from England came over here, took the land from the Indians. The Indians weren't doing nothing with the land either. All right. So they took the land from the Indians. So if any of when the Indians are original people too. So if anybody outside of the Indian group from India was here that was black, they wasn't doing nothing. So that's irrelevant if they was here or not. They didn't take the land from black people. They took the land from Indians who are original people though. They are original people. That's who they took the land from. But as the most honorable Muhammad teaches us, and the honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan teaches us, the Indians weren't doing nothing with the land. So God allowed this to happen. All right, was allowed to happen because they wasn't doing nothing with it. The white man got the land, used us to build up the land. That's why we here and see America as it is now, because we built it. All right, so let's move on. Benjamin Franklin, once again, United States statement, political theorist and inventor. The colonists would gladly have borne a little tax on tea and other matters had it not been that England took away from the colonists their money, which created unemployment and dissatisfaction. The inability of the colonists to get power to issue their own money permanently out of the banks or out of the hands of George III and the international bankers was the prime reason for the Revolutionary War. Remember, I just said that before we got there, right? 1802. Governor Morris, state man, United States Senator, 1800 to 1803. the rich will strive to establish their dominion and enslave the rest. They always did. They always will. They will have the same effect here as elsewhere if we do not, by the power of government, keep them in their proper spheres. Woo-woo. 1809, Thomas Jefferson, President of the United States, 1803 to 1811. I mean, he did 2 terms. I believe, no, listen to this. This Thomas Jefferson, y'all. I believe that banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies. Already, they have raised up a money catastrophe that has set the government at defiance. The issuing power of money should be taken away from the banks and restored to the people to whom it properly belongs. This is Thomas Jefferson. Napoleon, the one who went and got whooped down in Haiti, right? Got beat all down out in Haiti, right? And they don't want us to know nothing about Haiti, so they wouldn't let Haiti look independent for us to get no crazy ideas. All right, so they destroyed. They did lose, but they made sure they kept Haiti in a box. They kept Haiti in the box, but Haiti, the Haitians whooped Napoleon them. 1815, Emperor of France, 1804 through 1815. When a government is dependent upon bankers for money, they and not the leaders, I mean to say they and not the leaders of the government control the situation. When a government is dependent upon the bankers for money, they and not the leaders of the government control the situation. Since the hand that gives is above the hand that takes, money has no motherland. Finances are without patriotism and without decency. Their sole object is gain. Wow, this is Napoleon. Now, these are all these white folk now. They ain't got none of this, ain't us. It's them talking. 1816, Second Bank of the United States, 20-year charter, 80% privately owned central bank, debt-based money system with 50% fractional reserve, charter not renewed in 1836. 1820, John Adams, President of the United States, 1797 to 1801. So he only did 1 term. All of the perplexities, confusion, and distress in America arises not from the defects of the Constitution or Confederation, not from want of honor or virtue, so much as from downright ignorance of the nature of coin, credit, and circulation. 1834, Andrew Jackson, President of the United States, 1827, 1837. He did his full term, Andrew Jackson. You are a den of vipers and thieves, and I intend to rout you out. And by the external God, I will rout you out. If Congress has the right to issue paper money, it was given them to be used by themselves and not to be delegated to individuals or corporations. Mischief springs from the power which the money interest derives, from a paper currency which they are able to control, and from the multitude of corporations with exclusive privileges which are employed for their benefit. Free banking era, 1837. State charter banks based on fractional reserve system, 1837 to 1862. States regulated reserve requirements, banknotes backed partially by gold and silver. Banknotes backed partially by gold and silver. Catch the word partially. 1863. National Bank Act. Uniform banknotes bagged by United States Treasuries. 1863 to 1913. Federal fractional reserves led to bank runs. Did y'all hear that? Fractional reserves led to bank runs. It's coming to America. Get ready. So let's go from 1862 to 1913. Here we go. It's finna heat up. Lincoln issued 1862. Lincoln issues greenback, debt-free, interest-free money. 1862. This is the time frame that we got let off the plantation. 1862 to 1865. $450 million of United States notes issued directly from the Treasury. 1864, Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States, 1861 to 1865. The government should create, issue, and circulate all the currency and credits needed to satisfy the spending power of the government and the buying power of consumers. By the adoption of these principles, the taxpayers will be saved immense sums of interest. Money will cease to be mastered and become the servant of humanity. That's aid. That's old aid, right? But listen, though. All right, damn, I lost that thought right there. So that's old aid right there, right? Remember they killed aid. Here you go, he's still going. The money power preys upon the nations in times of peace and conspires against it in times of adversity. It is more despotic than more insolent than aristocracy, more selfish than bureaucratic. London Times, 1865. If that mischievous financial policy, which had its origin in the North American Republic during the late war in that country, should become indurated down to a fixture, then that government will furnish its own money without cost. It will pay off its debt and be without debt. It will become prosperous beyond precedent in the history of the civilized governments of the world. The brains and wealth of all countries will go to North America. That government must be destroyed, or it will destroy every government on the globe. Now check this out. That's what the thought came back. Only under Abraham Lincoln, before 1913, before the setup of the Federal Reserve, did the American people ever pay taxes. And this don't account us, family. We were still on the plantation, getting let off. Cause remember, that's where Juneteenth come from. All right, we got let off the plantation, like 1862, and they didn't get the notice in Texas until 1865. That's where Juneteenth come from. All right. So at this time, we still slaves during this time, right? So we didn't ever pay taxes. We was the damn taxpayer. All right, 1876, Otto von Bismarck, Chancellor of Germany, 1871 to 1890. The division of the United States into federations of equal force was decided long before the Civil War by the high financial powers of Europe. Hold on, let's start this again. Hold on now. I hope y'all listening now. This is deep, some deep stuff. It's the history of banking now. Now look at it, and everybody we quoting, these are white men. And this is what they saying. The division of the United States into federations of equal force was decided long before the Civil War by the high financial powers of Europe. These bankers were afraid that the United States, if they remain as one bloc and as one nation, will attain economic and financial independence, which would upset their financial domination over the world. Otto von Bismarck. The death of Lincoln was a disaster for Christendom. Hold up. There was no man in the United States great enough to wear his boots, and the bankers went anew to grab the riches. I fear that foreign bankers, with their craftiness and torturous tricks, will entirely control the riches of America and use it to systematically corrupt civilization. Man, this is some deep stuff, man. Oh my goodness. 1881, James A. Garfield, President of the United States, 1881. Damn, he did 1 year. Whoever controls the volume of money in any country is absolute master of all industry and commerce. And when you realize that the entire system is very easily controlled, one way or another, by a few powerful men at the top, you will not have to be told how periods of inflation and depression and depression originated. Damn. By a few powerful men at the top. He's still going. American Bankers Association, 1891, on September the 1st, 1894. We will not renew our loans under any consideration. On September the 1st, we will demand our money. We will foreclose and become mortgages in possession. We cannot take 2/3 of the farms west of the Mississippi. We can take 2/3 of the farms west of the Mississippi and thousands of them east of the Mississippi as well at our own price. Then the farmers will become tenants as in England. Wow. 1913, that great and dreadful day that put the planet on this debt-based system through America and legalized taxes and everything. Here it is. We're finna heat up now. 1913, Federal Reserve Act. Privately owned central bank given exclusive power to issue money. Fractional reserve debt based interest bearing currency. Damn. Charles A. Linebaugh, 1913, United States Congress, 1907, 1917. The Federal Reserve Act established the most gigantic trust on earth. When President Wilson signs this bill, the invincible government or the monetary power will be legalized. The worst legislation crime of the ages is perpetuated by this banking and currency bill. Y'all hear this? So he said this in 1913 before it happened. He was a congressman. Now this is what he said. We're going to read this again now. Charles A. Linebaugh. The Federal Reserve Act establishes the most gigantic trust on earth. When President Wilson signs this bill, the invincible government of the monetary power will be legalized. The worst legislation crime of the ages is perpetuated by this banking and currency bill. Wow, wow, wow. Before we go any further, let's have a quick break of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan telling us that the Federal Reserve is the synagogue of Satan. Let's check him out. Quick break, and we're going to come right back.
And you refuse. And as long as you will be a step and fetch it, as long as you will sell out for $1, they make dollars every day. Right next to the Holocaust Museum in Washington is where the Federal Reserve prints the money. The Federal Reserve is the synagogue of Satan. The Federal Reserve, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the House of Rothschild. These are the people that have corrupted the entire world. And I am here to pronounce your doom. Now America's become a fascist country. You remember when Senator Huey Long is quoted as saying, when fascism comes to America, it will be called anti-fascism. Fascism is designed and defined as an authoritarian political ideology that combines nationalism with a corporatist economic system. Fascists advocate the creation of a single party. You think that the Democrats and the Republicans are different? Now, who controls the U.S. Congress? Do you think it's you? Can you really depend on the Senate and the House of Representatives to represent your interests? They're in bed with insurance companies. They're in bed with special interests, and they're in bed with Israel. Most of your senators, many of them, and congresspersons are honorary citizens, members of the Knesset. They control America's wealth. President Bush was controlled. There's not a president that is the real power. The real power are those moneyed people.
Go ahead, Brother Mills. Nobody teach you like Brother Mills Farrakhan. You better believe it. All right, so now let's go. History of money and banking. We at 1916. Woodrow Wilson, President of the United States, 1913 to 1921. He was a Democrat president, by the way. I am a most unhappy man. Now, this is the man that signed the bill. He was the president when they passed the Federal Reserve Act. If he didn't sign off on it, it would have never came into existence. But listen to what he say 3 years later. I am a most unhappy man. I have willfully ruined my country. A great industrial nation is controlled by its system of credit. Our system of credit is concentrated. The growth of the nation, therefore, and all our activities are in the hand of a few men. We have come to be one of the worst ruled, one of the most completely controlled and dominated governments in the civilized world. No longer a government by free opinion, no longer a government by conviction and the vote of the majority, but a government by the opinion and the rest of a small group of dominant men. Now, this is what he said 3 years later, after he signed the bill. So remember, we was told that they was having a party, the international pushed the bill in front of them. So was they drunk, high, freaking, huh? So he ain't really read it. He just signed it. See that? Did he come back and after he sobered up and look at it like, damn, what the hell I done? Too late now. Thomas Edison. Now, if you have read Think and Grow Rich, they talk about Thomas Edison a lot in this book because he got with Henry Ford. 1921, Thomas Edison, inventor. So they say 1847 to 1931. If our nation, quote, if our nation can issue a dollar bond, it can issue a dollar bill. The element that makes the bond good makes the bill good. Also, the difference between the bond and the bill is the bond lets money brokers collect twice the amount of the bond and an additional 20%, whereas the currency pays nobody but those who contribute directly in some useful way. It is absurd to say that our country can issue $30 million in bonds and not $30 million in currency. Both are promises to pay, but one promise fattens the usurers and the other helps the people. Gold and money are separate things. Gold is the trick mechanism by which you can control money. That is the root of all evil. 1926, Sir Josiah Stamp, president of the Bank of England in the 1920s. Banking was conceived in inquirity and was born in sin. The bankers own the earth, take it away from them, but leave them the power to create deposit. And with the flick of the pen, they will create enough deposit to buy it back again. Wow. However, take it away from them, and all the great fortunes like mine will disappear, and they ought to disappear. For this would be a happier and better world to live in. But if you wish to remain the slaves of bankers and pay the cost of your own slavery, let them continue to create deposits. Damn, man, what the man, y'all better be walking off them jobs in the morning. Damn. Hey, I know. Hey, listen, if you still got a job, man, you probably won't quit that job tonight. You need to call your boss. Send him a text right now. Say, I ain't never coming back to work. You bastards. I ain't never coming back to work. Y'all need the money. I got to find another way to get it because I can't do this here. Damn, hold on. That was too deep. I got to read this one again. We got to read this one again for the person in the back. Sir Josiah Stamp, president of the Bank of England in the 1920s. Now, I want y'all to listen to what he say now. Banking was conceived in unrighteousness and was born in sin. The bankers own the earth, take it away from them, but leave them the power to create deposits, and with the flick of the pen, they will create enough deposits to buy it back again. However, take it away from them, and all the great fortunes like mine, he talking about himself, will disappear. And they ought to disappear. For this would be a happier and better world to live in. But if you wish to remain the slaves of bankers and pay the cost of your own slavery, let them continue to create deposits. Damn. 1922, Henry Ford, founder of the Ford Motor Company, 1863 to 1947. Listen to what he said. It is well known that people of the nation do not understand our banking and money system. But if they did, I believe there will be a revolution before tomorrow morning. 1930. Now this is getting deep now, because I want y'all to understand. Let me go back to the timeline. Okay, so from 1910, 3 years before they set up the Federal Reserve, Master Fard Muhammad, the teacher of the most honorable Muhammad, started coming in America in 1910. Now he told us that the 6,000 year rule of the Caucasian race was to end in 1914. He said it ended in, 6,000 years was up the year 1914. They set up the Federal Reserve in 1913 was their last act to keep them in power. But at this time, Master Fard Muhammad was already coming inside of America because he had already located the lost sheep. That's us. All right. So now we're going to get into some numbers here. So 1930. Now this is the year that Master Fard Muhammad comes on the scene and makes himself known in a town, in a neighborhood called Black Bottom, Detroit, Michigan. 1930, same year. Bank of International Settlements. The central bank of central banks, privately owned bank in Basel, Switzerland. The BIS was established by the Hertz Agreements of 1930 and represents 57 central banks. 1932. At this time, Master Fard Muhammad had already met the most honorable Muhammad, and now he's teaching him the science, right? And grooming him for him to go and do the work after Master Fard Muhammad left. Now this thing getting deep. I just want to keep y'all in tune with the numbers. You feel what I'm saying? I want to keep y'all in tune with the numbers. All right, what are y'all seeing on Facebook? Because I'm seeing something totally different. What's happening? Let me go out and come back. So, okay. I don't know what Facebook look like. It went to tripping. All right. Louis T. 1932. Louis T. McFadden, United States Congressman, 1915 to 1935. Most people think the Federal Reserve banks are the United States government institutions. They are not government institutions. They are private credit monopolies which prey upon the people of the United States for the benefit of themselves and their foreign swindlers. We have in this country one of the most corrupt institutions the world has ever known. I refer to the Federal Reserve Board. This evil institution has impoverished the people of the United States and has practically bankrupt our government. It has done this through the corrupt practices of the money vultures who control it. 1944. Now at this time, Master Farad Muhammad gone and Elijah Muhammad is in America teaching Islam. This even before he goes to prison in at this time, he's in, where did he go? He in prison. So at this time, 1944, the Muhammad Muhammad is in prison for teaching Islam. At this time, 1944, International Monetary Fund, 186 member nations to secure financial stability. So now the Federal Reserve is expanding. They already took the dollar off the gold standard. They did that in 33. An international organization that oversees the global financial system established to stabilize exchange rates and assist the reconstruction of the world's international payment system. All right? That's 1944. Then they come. Now we're going to 1944 to 1999, and there's some stuff that they left out of here too, because they didn't even talk about President Roosevelt in 33 taking the dollar off the gold standard. They ain't talk about that part. All right, unofficially, but he did it. 1944, Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. 44 nation agreement to regulate the international monetary system. Same year as the monetary fund. Think that's a coincidence. Each country was to adopt a monetary policy that maintained the exchange rate of its currency within a fixed value, plus or minus 1% in relation to gold. Now remember, I'm going to take y'all through the timeline. All right. I want to take y'all through the timeline because I got to go back because they left something out of here, right? They didn't give the full history. Okay. 1913, they set up the Federal Reserve Act. I think around 1917, that's when they started the income taxes. But 1913, 1914, around that same time, here comes the Federal Reserve, here comes the FBI, here comes the IRS. All right? Taxes came in like 1917. Okay, and we've been paying taxes ever since. Now, in 1933, a Muslim son, which is called a white Muslim, is called a Shriner, was the president by the name of Hubert Hoover. Now, we're told in our history that Master Farad Muhammad met with President Hubert Hoover. Hoover would not do what Roosevelt did, so the international bankers got Hoover out of office, pushed Franklin D. Roosevelt in office. Franklin D. Roosevelt passed a bill that lasted for 40 years, lasted for 40 years, that no American citizen could own, possess, coinage gold or bullion gold. So that literally took the dollar off the gold standard. That was it. But then 11 years after that, here come Bretton Woods and here come the IMF. See, their whole plan was to do that, to get control of the country, legalize it, tax the citizens, because they wanted to rape the resources of America, because America was the new playpen. America was the new kingdom. Oh my goodness. And the Jews you find in this book, they heaven was in the Mississippi Delta. That's why we tell you get this book. They heaven was in the Mississippi Delta. They took over the Delta. They took over Alabama. They took over Louisiana. They took over Texas. The southern states are the best part to grow food and crops and cotton and all that stuff in the country. They took over parts of Florida. They took over Georgia. They took over South Carolina, Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, Arkansas. The Zionist Jews ran all of that when we was on the plantation, family. It's all in this book. You got to get this book. You don't know your history. And they still control the South to this day. Right now. The South was their paradise. So that's the Bretton Woods. They set this up, and now in 1944, they also tricked the other nations that because they didn't have gold backing up the dollar at this time. But the nations didn't know this, though. The nations didn't know this, though. So they agreed at Bretton Woods in New Hampshire to make the dollar the #1 currency. Then they also linked the dollar to oil. That's what gave birth to the petrodollar. Man, this thing is deep when you understand. See, but it ain't really complex like that. You just got to know how to line it up mathematically. That's why we telling y'all, when we telling you about this stuff, we taught it from the mouth of God in his Christ. So we can't make a mistake. Well, we can make a mistake. I can make a mistake, brother. But when we're breaking down the signs and we really understand, there ain't no mistake in it. 1944, the Muslim Muhammad was in federal prison for teaching Islam, had committed no crime. And this was also during World War II. This is why they took him off the streets. In 1942, he didn't get out to 46. They say he was draft dodging, but he had passed the limit to have to dodge. The age was 44 and down. He was 45, but they still locked him up for this because they didn't want him teaching Islam and teaching black people the proper use of their bodies, where they wanted us to go and help fill up the military so we can go over here to participate in World War II. 1963, United States Treasury notes issues $4.3 billion in interest-free, debt-free Treasury notes. First time since Lincoln in 1862 that a president issues debt-free greenback Treasury notes. 1963, President Kennedy, United States President, 1961, 1963. See, listen, he didn't even live too long after he did this. Somebody, hey, Jahad, if y'all on here, go Google the actual year that they killed Kennedy. Go Google that year. Because I want to say it was in the same year he put out those notes. On June the 4th, 1963, President Kennedy signed a presidential document called Executive Order 11110. It gave the Treasury Department the explicit authority to issue silver certificates against any silver bullion, silver or standard silver dollars in the Treasury. 5 months after Kennedy's assassination, all series 1958 silver certificates were removed from circulation. So 5 months later, but that's what it say, 5 months after Kennedy's assassination. So 5 months later, Kennedy dead. He issued these silver certificates in June the 4th of 63. 5 months later, he dead in Dallas, Texas, in a parade. Well, going down in the car. Y'all remember the scene, right? He dead, shot in the head. But listen though, it gets even deeper. Dallas, Texas, is a city where it's a Federal Reserve Bank with a Federal Reserve Bank president. Y'all want to see the sign? Man, y'all better stop playing with these Jews, man. These folks don't play. 1971, Richard Nixon triggered it. United States president, 1969 to 1974. On August the 15th, 1971, the United States unilaterally terminated convertibility of the dollar to gold as established under the Bretton Woods Agreement. See that? See that? So 28 years after they tricked all the other nations to make the dollar the #1 reserve currency, they put Nixon under fire and made him come out and just say you can't convert the dollar into gold no more. It's over. It's over. So that really killed the Bretton Woods Agreement. Y'all follow that? This action created a system where currencies could float in the international market and compete for value as commodities. Wow. Now we have that so that started the Forex then. So here come the birth of the Forex market. With all these fiat currencies where they just print. So 28 years after Bretton Woods, here they come and take the dollar off the gold standard officially. But why? Because they didn't have no gold. There wasn't no gold to give. The Zionist Jew wanted all the gold, and they got it. Man, this thing here is so deep. All right, 1983. Let's local exchange trading system. Non-profit interest-free local credit. A mutual credit system that operates through local networks in many countries around the world provides an alternative method for individuals to monetize their own labor. 1999, Euro money, collective currency of 16 of the 27 member European Union states. Federal Reserve debt-based issue bearing currency with bank reserve requirements ranging from 2% to 12%. So this what created the euro. All right, but remember British had exit out of the union now, right? Y'all remember this, right? Remember they called it Brexit. Y'all don't remember that? That just happened a couple years ago now. This thing is getting deep. You can't just look at it from America's standpoint. This thing is connected to Europe. All this thing is deep. So as we come to a conclusion, I thank y'all for tuning in. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. And I thank y'all for tuning in. But we got one last thing that we want to do, and we're going to let you go. But we got to go and look at the Federal Reserve. Here we go. Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve. They got a website, and they have no problem with telling you what it is. Now check this out. The Federal Reserve is ran by a board of governors and 12 bank branches, presidents. So they got the board of governors, they got the chairman of the board, and they got 12 banks in 12 major cities in the United States, which we're going to get to in a minute. And the board of governors, and they also got a what is it called? Board of Governors. Man, what is that called? What they do what they do on the assets, man. I forgot what it's called. Man, where is it at? I'll think about it. But here go the board members. Board of Governors, the governor, or not the governor, but the chairman of the board, Jerome Powell, Zionist Jew. Lael Bernard, vice chair. So if something happened to him, she becomes the chairman. She is Zionist Jew. Michael S. Barnett Sure, vice chair for supervision. Michelle W. Baldwin, I think she's Jew too. Now, they snuck 2 black people in on the board of governors. Now, we've been breaking this down for many, many years, and they ain't never had I ain't never seen no black board of governors. So when did they come? When did Lisa D. Cook, when did she get on the board of governors for the Federal Reserve? Now, this is in no way, none of these people know what the real mission and vision of the international bankers is. They don't know. They just workers. But when did they get these black folks on the board, though? Let's see. Lisa D. Cook. Lisa D. Cook took office as the board of governors of the Federal Reserve System on May the 23rd, 2022. to fill an uninspired term ending July the 31st, 2024. Now, why did they pick her? Because she wasn't over no bank or nothing. Said prior to her appointment to the board, Dr. Cook was a professor of economics and international relations at Michigan State University. She was also a research associate at the National Bureau of Economic Research. All right. She did a lot of stuff, Harvard and all type of stuff like that, but it didn't say nothing about her. So she was taught and trained by them through their universities. So boom, she gets the position. But now this is a smoke screen to throw us off because the Federal Reserve been getting flat. But here they come and pop up two black people on their board. Man, this bad is so deep. Next one, Philip N. Jefferson. Philip N. Jefferson took office as a member of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System on May the 23rd, 2023, to fill an uninspired term ending January the 31st of 2036. Most recently, Dr. Jefferson was Vice President for Academic Affairs and Dean of Faculty in the Paul B. Freeland Professor of Economics at Davidson College. Before then, Dr. Jefferson served as chair of the Department of Economics at a college, Swarthmore, where he was the central professor of economics. Right? That's what he did. Wow. So they just snuck them in. It ain't been a whole year. Ain't been a whole year. But now let's go look at the structure of the Federal Reserve. That's the Board of Governors. All right. So there go the Board of Governors. Oh, that's what it is. The Federal Open Market Committee. So they got a Federal Open Market Committee as well. So you got the 12 Federal Reserve banks with the head being in Washington, D.C. That's where the board resides at, Washington, D.C. Now let's see where these 12 cities at. Boston, Massachusetts, New York, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Cleveland, Ohio, Richmond, Virginia, Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, St. Louis, Missouri, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Kansas City. I think this Kansas. Let me see. Is it Kansas? Kansas City, Missouri. But the Kansas City, Missouri branch banks at Denver, Colorado, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and Omaha, Nebraska. Covers those. They over counties. They're all over counties, right? This is how they got it. This is a pyramid. See, y'all want to see what a pyramid look like? I'm showing y'all what a pyramid look like. I know you pyramid scheme theorists. No, y'all ain't on here looking at this. You done went home. You done went to sleep. I ain't this nigga talking about the bank. I don't want to hear that. St. Louis, Missouri, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Kansas City, Missouri, Dallas, Texas, San Francisco, California, Washington, D.C., that's the 13th, with the Board of Governors. Where the Board of Governors in the Federal Open Market Committee reside at in Washington, D.C. Now, each bank city has a bank president. Now, last we checked, 9 of the bank presidents were Zionist Jews. Now, J.F. Kennedy got killed in Dallas, and we go through all the other cities, what have been happening in Boston? What's the poverty rate? What's the wealth gap? Remember, we looked at the wealth gap in Boston for black to white. The wealth gap in Boston is the worst. Y'all remember that? Y'all don't remember that article that came out a couple years ago? Where Boston is the worst, has the worst wealth gap. They got the worst wealth gap from black and white. It's in Boston. Federal Reserve, they over these states up here, these orange states. They over all these counties in these orange states here. New York is over all New York. And when they look like Rhode Island or something. Philadelphia is over all Pennsylvania and some on the side. Cleveland is over all this here, all Ohio, whatever that is on the Ohio, and a little something to the side. Virginia, Richmond, Virginia is over a lot. All of Maryland, look at that. That's Washington, D.C., that's where that started. You got Atlanta. Atlanta is over Georgia, Tennessee, part of Tennessee, Alabama, part of Mississippi, part of Louisiana, and all of Florida. That's the Federal Reserve in Atlanta. Texas, Chicago, 7, they over all that up there. Look at that. They got this thing mapped out, man. We around here playing. These folks are running systematic poverty systematic currency wars on us, man, and we ain't even figured it out yet. And it's right here in our face. They got a whole website to show us a pyramid. And we still running around talking about some pyramid. Boy, we is silly than all I do. Minneapolis. Where's Minneapolis? All up here. They got all this up here. It's Montana, Wyoming, all that there. All right. Kansas City. Look, Kansas City, Missouri got all of this. Kansas, all of Missouri. Oklahoma. Wow. Part of New Mexico. Dallas got all of Texas, part of New Mexico, and part of Louisiana. San Francisco got damn near the whole West Coast and Alaska. Is it Alaska or Hawaii? I think that's Alaska. Hawaii, one of them. All right, got all of that. So they got California, Nevada, Arizona, Oregon, Washington State, some of Utah. So look, man, this is deep, man. Alaska. This is deep, family. So, family, we just wanted to show you the history. So what are you going to do with this information? Because we can't leave without no instructions. All right, our plan of action. Your plan of action is to get decentralized, man. Get decentralized as fast as you can. Get you some physical gold. You can go get some physical silver. But remember, you limited with that. You can't go no anywhere. Just get up and go with gold and silver. You definitely can't do that. Well, you don't need no cash. Cash about to be obsolete. All right. You need you some crypto. And it's best for you to get in a crypto system. All right. This is what we offer you. So before we go, family, if you want to subscribe to the Digital Founder Call, please text FCN to 833-549-2079. That's FCN to 833-549-2079. If you want to donate to the nation, not me. See, I'm asking you to donate something to the nation. See, charity and donations is only for the messenger of Allah, and I'm not the messenger of Allah. So you don't have to donate me nothing. Come over here. I got some assistance for you to come build with us and make money with us and help us like that. But I ain't asking for no donation. That's why we don't drop cash app tags on our videos. We ain't looking for no handout. All right. We looking for you to get educated, and we hope if you get properly educated, you're going to come over here and build some real wealth with us and become decentralized. That's what we hope. All right. That's our donation that you can donate to us. Come and do something for your family. All right. So if you want to donate to the nation, Muhammad's economic blueprint, where that money helps our farmland and helps us get more infrastructure on our farm in Georgia, then you can go to www.economicblueprint.org. And if you saying you ready for the blockchain, you ready to be part of Project Exodus 10,000, because that's why we running Project Exodus 10,000. Who want to exit out of the real pyramid? This is what you got to ask yourself. All right? And always remember, family, by you telling us no, you're not hurting us. You're hurting yourself. Because that means you are still being scammed and you're not doing nothing to position out of the scam. Now, there's many cryptos out there, but there's only one crypto decentralized system, and that's Gold Standard Bank, powered by Gold Standard Partners. So become a Gold Standard Partner and get into a crypto system. You can go buy any crypto you want and just hold it and wait on it to go up. And some of those coins you can stake and get more coins, but you will not ever see anything like we're bringing you over the blockchain. This is why we are called new Millennium bankers. Because the way these men want us to bank is over the blockchain. Ain't nothing better than the blockchain. What system better than the blockchain? I'm waiting. So if he came to destroy the international bankers and he raised this man up here to teach us about them, they actually raised Mr. Farrakhan to teach us about it. All right? The Muslim Muhammad didn't too much deal with the banks other than teaching us gold was money. See, that come from him. Right? That come from him. All right? And he got it from him. Now, Mr. Farrakhan got it from the Muslim Muhammad. And now Mr. Farrakhan is that Jesus in your Bible that has that big collision with the Jews. That Mr. Farrakhan. Now, aspect of the Muslim Muhammad, like he is the first begotten of the dead Jesus. So an aspect of his life, he represents Jesus in your book. All right, I don't want to get scripture. I know everybody ain't like that, but we're going to make the scripture pop out to you. We're going to make the pages jump off the pages so you can start understanding it. Forget believing in it. We want you to understand. I can believe that I jump out my window head first, that my neck won't break. But until I do it and see, it just believe. You feel me? So we want to get you past belief, whether you believe it or not. It don't matter about your religion, nothing. Because what we're bringing to you and what we're doing for our money, and this business is warfare broadcast, is all coming from these two men through the mouth of the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan. I'm just a student in the classroom. I got a clip of the minister saying that he wanted help economically. So I joined the nation to help him economically. So I studied finance. I studied banking, currency, money. I studied this stuff. All right. And I'm bringing the people not just something to throw some money in. We bringing to you a systematic approach to a systematic problem. Gold Standard Bank is a system of wealth creation, of income, all type of, it's crazy. What we're doing is really ridiculous. People can't even believe it. You feel me? I don't even tell you who the brother was. I told the brother yesterday, we was on the call. This brother said, yeah, I made $30,000 this month. I had to call him. You know what I'm saying? We was on a presentation, like I had to call him and say, man, you made $30,000 this month? He said, yeah. I said, damn. You know what I'm saying? 30,000? And with a whole week left, he just got in the program. And he made this from commissions. Man, listen, man. There's a whole lot of stuff you can do out there to get money. Listen. Listen. Gold Standard Bank providing the fastest way right now for us to get money out of the way as an issue. If you want to get rich, right? If you want to get rich, you want to get off the job and really make some real income every month from all type of way, passive, fee-based income, asset holding income, right? Referral income, word of mouth marketing, business. Listen, man, you ain't Gold Standard Bank partner, man. You just missing an opportunity of a lifetime. And I kind of feel sorry for you if you miss it. Because like people say, well, that ain't it. Okay. Well, if some come better than it, how you going to see it? If you miss this, because ain't nothing on the planet right now with a systematic approach, with group economics, with asset accumulation, is more lucrative and paying out faster than what we doing inside of Gold Standard Bank Partners. Everybody getting paid. The person ain't getting paid in Gold Standard Bank Partners, they signed up for a pro bono account. They ain't put $1 in. They ain't moved nothing in. Then the only people ain't making money in Gold Standard Bank. Everybody that puts some money in is making money. You better believe that. You feel me? This is just the truth of the matter. So family, come on over, cross over, come to the new world, the new way to bank, the new way to make money. All right, and they come in and decentralize. Why you think they got all these crypto? They targeting crypto. This the bankers. This is what they targeting. They ain't gonna just let that world go. So they gotta diminish it. They gotta make it look bad to you because they know you don't know. They know you won't take the time out to study. They didn't train you well. They know you're gonna believe anything that they put out in the media because you seen it. But you ain't seen nothing about Bank of America. You ain't seen nothing about Wells Fargo scandal. You ain't seen nothing a couple years ago. They took a whole Facebook page down soon as we made a video about a big scandal that JP Morgan was caught up in. They took a whole page down. Oh, get that down. Still got the video on YouTube though. You feel me? And we encourage you to go find it. You feel me? Go to my YouTube channel and type in JP Morgan so it can pop up. And listen, you want to know what's happening, but you still banking with them. You ain't shut their bank account down. Them folks kicked Kanye West out of their bank with $140 million. And we ain't said one time, let's boycott them. But soon as Adidas clip them, let's boycott Adidas. Adidas ain't got no damn power, man. That's a damn tennis shoe company, man, brand, man. They ain't got no damn power. The damn banks got the power. You want to touch them, you want to affect them. That's where the power at. That's what we just read to you. That's where they power at. As long as we not fighting against that, we ain't even fighting the powers that be. And if we ain't teaching the babies about these, we ain't even fighting. We ain't even fighting. That's why it's best for you to get a financial education and homeschool your children and teach them that so they'll never work for $1. But the majority of the children get old, the dollar ain't even gonna be here to work for. It's gonna be a new currency, and it's on the way. Make no mistake about it. It's on the way. So until it get here, we gold standard banking over here, man. The new Millennium banking way. This is what we do. It's the 21st century. We ain't got time to wait. So if you want to come get down with us, come get down with us. But we're gonna leave you with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talking about what he need help in. Asking for 100 million now. This was 25 years ago, family. Right? I was about 17 years old when he made this lecture. And I didn't even hear it. I wasn't nowhere near the nation. Matter of fact, when he made this lecture, I was on my way to prison for the first time. So he made it with me in mind. I just had to get groomed, had to go through some more stuff to come help him. Because I am one of them millionaires. That's the goal. That's the mindset, right? To help him. Because when you got money, you can do a whole lot of stuff. I can have a whole lot of business. If I ain't got the money to put behind it, then how it's going to come to fruition? Thank y'all for tuning in, family. We out of here. Assalamu alaikum.
Satisfied until we have the college level on the University of Islam. And if you help me by doing what you can in the economic field, Muslims, you shouldn't be around here looking to white people to give you a job. Go look in message to the black man and the economic blueprint. And if there are 4 of you, 6 of you, 8 of you together, pool your resources, go into business and set up business all over the south and west side of Chicago. I would like to see at least 100 millionaires among the Muslims in Chicago. If you're rich, I'm rich. And I can always come and tell you about the needs of a nation. But if you poor and we poor, hell man, we can't be around here poor. I want to see rich Muslims. And if you obey Allah, there's no reason why you can't make a business successful. You just have to get up and stop being lazy and trifling and go do something for yourself. So we're going to put together a trade delegation of Muslims and, well, everybody's a Muslim, but there are those who have not confessed Islam, but they are brilliant in business. We made promises to governments, and we're going to fulfill our promise. There's all kinds of investment opportunities. Diamonds, gold, uranium, oil. I mean, you name it, Africa is open. And the Europeans are coming in with money and they're taking Africa. Well, why can't we go? They're ready to sell gold mines to us. They're ready for us to develop gold. Well, where's Michael Jackson? Where's Shaq O'Neal? Where? We need to pull our moneyed people together and let's do some business now, because we can't build a nation on the charity of the believer. We can only build a nation on a strong economic foundation that's built on business, agriculture, agribusiness. Yes, sir.